So have you ever done this? You sit down to meditate, you pull out your phone, set a timer, and think, all right, 30 minutes, and then I've got to get to my emails. Well, what if I told you that that very thought, that simple act of scheduling your quiet time, might actually be the one thing that's holding you back from what meditation can truly be? Today, we're going to dive into this wild, paradoxical story about how time, the tool we use to organize our entire lives, can sometimes be the biggest roadblock to spiritual awakening.
Okay, so let's break this down. On the one hand, you have how most of us approach meditation. It's basically a task, right? It's on the to-do list, it has a time limit, it has a goal, usually to feel calm or reduce stress. It's something we do. But then you have this other idea, this concept of real meditation being timeless. It's not about doing anything, it's about being. And the goal? Well, there is no goal. Now, I know that sounds a little passive, maybe even kind of lazy, but stick with me because it points to a much, much deeper truth. And this quote right here, it just captures that mindset perfectly. I mean, it sounds totally normal, doesn't it? But just listen to the words. I am going to do my meditation. We're boxing it in. We're putting it on the clock, neatly tucked between our other tasks. We're operating completely inside the world of time. And here's the real kicker. While time is obviously essential for our day-to-day lives, for getting things done, when it comes to the deep stuff, to really awakening to who you are, it's actually the biggest obstacle. You see, that state of just being doesn't live in the past or the future. It's only and always right now. And our obsession with scheduling and doing is constantly yanking us out of it.
You know, to really get our heads around this, there's no better story than that of the most famous spiritual seeker of all time, the Buddha. But for a minute, let's just forget all the statues and the religious stuff. Just think of him as a guy, a seeker, who wrestled with this exact same problem, the paradox of time and effort, more intensely than pretty much anyone in history. For years, this guy was the ultimate doer. I mean, he left his cushy palace life and just dove headfirst into every extreme spiritual practice you could possibly imagine. We're talking hardcore fasting, ridiculously difficult postures, intense meditation techniques, you name it, he did it. And he got so good at all this doing that he became famous. People flocked to him. He was a spiritual superstar. So, he checked all the boxes. He put in the years, he mastered every single skill, he even had the followers to prove it. By any measure, he had achieved everything a spiritual seeker could ever hope to achieve through sheer effort and discipline. But the real question, the one that mattered, after all of that doing, had he actually found the thing he was looking for?
And then, after all those years of struggle, he came to this one absolutely stunning realization. He looked at everything he'd built, his mastery, his reputation, his disciples, and he just thought to himself, that's not it. He finally saw that the entire game he was playing, this idea of using time and effort to reach some future goal of enlightenment, that was the problem itself.
So this is where the story gets really good. Realizing his entire approach was flawed, he didn't just switch to a new technique. Nope, he did something way more radical. He just gave up.
And I mean, he abandoned everything. All those practices he had spent years perfecting, he just dropped them. And his disciples, the people who looked up to him, they saw him quitting and they were so disappointed they just left. They probably thought he'd lost his mind. So suddenly there he was, all alone, having given up his methods, his reputation, his entire identity as a seeker. And he just sat.
And in that moment of complete surrender, something incredible happened. With no goal to strive for, no practice to perform, no one to impress, all the doing finally just stopped. That frantic, searching energy of the seeker just dissolved away. And in that quiet space, what emerged was this profound, simple, and unbelievably deep realization of just being.
And right here, this is where we get a totally new definition of meditation. It's not about achieving some peaceful state. It's the simple, sudden realization of the quiet, aware presence that's already inside you. It's been there the whole time, just buried under all the noise. All our thinking, our feeling, and especially our constant trying and striving.
And you can see this incredible shift in his very identity. Before, he was the seeker, a person defined by a future goal, by a journey. Afterwards, when people would ask him who he was, he didn't give them a name. He just said, I am Buddha, which literally just means, I am awake. It wasn't a title, it was just a description of his state of being.
So what in the world does this ancient story have to do with us, here and now, with our meditation apps and our packed schedules? It kind of feels like a catch-22, right? If all the doing is actually the problem, should we just stop? Should we just quit trying?
And that leads us to the most important question in this whole story. If just sitting and being was the final answer, why did the Buddha have to go through all those years of brutal, difficult practices? I mean, why couldn't he have just skipped the struggle and gone straight to sitting under the tree from day one? It seems like he just couldn't.
And here it is. This is the beautiful, mind-bending paradox that unlocks everything. You need time to realize you don't need time. All those years of doing, all the discipline, the effort, the struggle, they serve a purpose. That's the process you have to go through to completely exhaust the part of you that thinks it can achieve awakening through effort. You have to try and fail over and over until you finally truly get it. Trying isn't the way.
So maybe we can end with this thought. Perhaps our scheduled meditations, our timer on our phone, our imperfect efforts to just sit for 10 minutes, maybe they aren't a mistake after all. What if all that doing is the indispensable journey we all have to walk, the necessary path we have to take through time to finally earn the wisdom that who we really are exists completely beyond it?